All right, and now we're going into part 2. And I'm telling you, this thing went on so long, my camera's batteries are not capable of lasting, so I'm having to change them, which cuts the video feed on 2 cameras, which makes it even more difficult to edit. So I've got some serious editing screw-ups here, but I'm doing the best I can. Just be patient with me. I just ordered a new battery for camera number 1, so it'll go longer than an hour. And I also had to order a special cable because it's just different, because nothing's universal. So here's the second half of the Board of Supervisors meetings. I'm not sure if I captured it or not because of running out of battery time. I had one camera, I couldn't use it all at the end. So anyway, just work in progress. You know, if this was a full-time job, I'd be really good at it by now, but I can only do it now and again. But there was a thing at the end where they were addressing public's concern, and I think somebody made a complaint about a business and then they didn't have some type of permit, but they've gotten the permit and it was rectified. The point of it is, at the end of the meetings, it looks like they're taking content from what people are saying in the public speaking presentations and doing something about it and addressing it and going back out to the audience to show that they are listening and this is the result of it. That's what it appeared to be to me. I'm not sure if I caught Tracy Martin in there when I rewatched it because I was so flustered by the editing. Anyway, there it is, and I'll do better next time. So yeah, here's the second half. Oh, the main thing they talk about here is what they're planning for Edmonds Park, because this is something that's been talked about for years, but no action's been taken, and I can tell there's some frustration with trying to get these projects going. And that's kind of the case overall with a lot of things here in this county, but hopefully they're going to move on. I do want to make a quick note. Actually, no, I'll talk about it at the end of the week. There was something on one of our podcasts that was on the TV news channel or something, but I'll address that in a later thing. It's not a big deal. All right, here you go.
Okay, next item on that agenda on the presentations is the IDA workforce housing.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for allowing us to come here today to give you an update on what's going on with our workforce housing initiative, which is a key aspect of the Hitachi announcement that took place last year. This is one of the key components of this process, and I wanted to introduce you to our housing partner, Community Housing Partners out of Christiansburg, who is going to be helping us develop it started at 96 units, but I think we're up to a much higher number now. So I don't want to steal his thunder, but Andy Davenport is with us today. I'd love to let you hear from him.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Again, my name is Andy Davenport. I am Vice President of Real Estate Development for Community Housing Partners. Community Housing Partners is 51 years old. I like to say we were founded by a couple of tech grads who wanted to do home repairs for low-income folks in the hills around Blacksburg. Since then, we've grown into a three-segmented business, my business being real estate development. We do only income-restricted affordable housing. That includes very low housing to moderate income and up to 150% of AMI. Our other two businesses are the management of housing and the resident services that we provide in our asset management. We've been at this for 50 years. We still own many of the first assets we ever built and bought. And then finally, our energy solutions business, which does weatherization, home repairs, and training around the weatherization programs. We're based in Christiansburg, but we have 6,000 units from the Carolinas to Maryland. So we're a regional housing owner and developer. I put this up there is that we do sustainable housing. That's sustainable in that it lasts for a long time. It is energy efficient, and it is responsive to the communities in which we work. We're a developer, owner, and manager. So all of the properties we buy or build, our management company runs the day-to-day operations, and our asset management company really operates like an asset management company for any major real estate owner. in that it's constantly reviewing the portfolio, looking at how things are going, and then what needs to be recapitalized and what resources can we identify for that. These are some examples of some work we're doing. The picture on my left, I think your left as well, is the construction of 91 units in Alexandria. The second is a garden-style apartment buildings we built in Dumfries, Virginia. And the final two are the interiors of the Dumfries units. So we use the same finishes that you see in every market rate development. The one difference is we don't always use solid surface countertops. Often our finishes are better because the sources of funding we use require higher energy efficiency. I also want to talk about our home ownership, because one of the things we're talking about for South Boston is a mixed, what I call mixed tenure, mixed income. So we want to include new home ownership opportunities with multifamily rentals to support the Hitachi expansion. So this is an example of that work we're doing. This is in Blacksburg. It's going to be up to 70 units. We're doing 10 right now. These are restricted at 80, the first 10 are restricted at 80% of AMI, but in the future they'll include some market rate units as well. We are permitted under our 501c3 to have no more than 20% of our portfolio as unrestricted. These are all beautiful modular builds. Right now they're all single family lots. We've done all the site infrastructure here, so we brought up water and sewer. Actually had to do a stream crossing that was a little bit complicated, but really did well. And now we were going to finish 10 houses this year. Those will all be for sale. This is a project we just completed in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. This is 54 garden-style apartments. I wanted to show this because this is the kind of, for the multifamily development we're going to be, we're proposing for South Boston. That's the product we're looking at. So it's a 3-story walk-up. In this case, it's a siding material. This has stone. We do a mix of brick and siding most likely. This is I think a beautiful example of the work we do. Here's the site that we're talking about. The red dot is the site that the IDA has acquired for this workforce development, and it's about a mile from the Hitachi plant. So this is a perfect example of workforce housing, where the workforce can get easily to and from their job, and also get into South Boston, and also get into the amenities along 58. Those are all really important for this development, and really why I believe it will truly be a success. This is the current site layout of the property. We have a very good engineer. He is, however, not really interested in aesthetics. So the larger 5 buildings are what we would build for the multifamily. There we could put at the back outdoor amenities, dog parks, tot lots, playgrounds, a pool. We need the same amenities, a clubhouse, that a market rate development will have. So it'll have a gym, and most of our developments have gyms. We're proposing about 120 garden-style apartments, 16 twin or duplex homes, so they're side-by-sides. Those would be at the entrance of the site. I think that's the most marketable place for them, with the multifamily in the back. I think we're parking this at about 2 per door. We'll have a mix of 1, 2s, and 3s. The home ownership units will all be 3-bedroom units. The income restrictions that we're pursuing are from 80 to 150% of area median income. The jobs announced from Hitachi are going to have an average, they say, of about $74,000 a year. So that's in that sweet spot for this. And since partnering with the IDA, before we go that, this is a sample. This is what we call a precedent image. This is something we're building in Newport News. And it's, again, that garden-style walk-up building. This is a 2-story. I think we're looking at a 3-story. but brick siding mix, we'll probably do more siding on this than that. We got additional funding for the brick on that project, and this is a typical twin side-by-side home. The kind of thing we would build here. We're using laminate floors here. We probably do stainless steel appliances. We usually use black in the multifamily. These will all be 3 bedrooms. And since partnering with the IDA, we've had some very important successes. We've got $3.2 million from Virginia Housing and Workforce Housing Investment Program. We've got Tobacco Region Revitalization dollars of $1 million. We have the seed money from the SCRC of $500,000, and CHP is going to be putting its own equity into these projects. So we are actually taking our own capital and acting as the equity investor in this area, in the same way that an equity investor in a different market would come in and be the investor. Future funding commitments. Assuming there are future rounds of the WIP, which I think there will be, we're eligible from between $6 and $7.2 million for the 136 homes we're proposing. I'm calculating a permanent debt of about 27 to 32 million, and we're looking at getting some funds for the 80% units from DHCD. Again, with that, we'll have additional equity investment, especially as we phase this out. I should point out that the intent is to phase this development out by doing the first 2, as you come up from 58, the 16 homes and the first 2 buildings. And then we want to roll right from that into at least 1 more phase, but potentially 2 for the rest of the rental homes. We would like this to commence in 2027. Because we know that the build out for Hitachi will probably go into 2028. That's when the hiring and the jobs are really going to start coming. So we have to be ready for that. Didn't mention it before, but on-site, we do all our on-site maintenance. And that's the other thing I can promise is we haven't gone through planning, zoning, and site plan approval. So what I'm showing you today will most likely be different. I look forward for the opportunity to come back and say, this is where we're at now after those meetings. I'm projecting this to be about a $60 million development all in. A significant transformative project in South Boston. One that across the Commonwealth, we're seeing this need. We're seeing employers come to me and say, can you bring housing to this so that I can get my employees here? I get it from school districts a ton. Saying, I know the school district has 106 open positions. And it's because their teachers are driving 45 minutes to 2 hours because they can't find housing in the jurisdictions they're in. This isn't a crisis of low-income people not being able to find homes. It's a crisis of everybody having difficulty finding homes. I hope I didn't do that. The last slide I can summarize for you. There are 2 challenges we're facing today in proceeding with this. One is one of the reasons that CHP has to be the equity investor is because we can't go to banks and other financial institutions that invest in these things and say, hey, here's the market comp that you can rely on. That market comp doesn't exist at this point in this market. We know the jobs are coming. We know they're going to be there for a very long time. The type of investment that Hitachi is talking about isn't the kind of investment you make and then walk away from. So we're confident in that. But most risk-averse investors are going to have a tough time coming into Halifax and saying, yeah, we're going to put $20 million at risk, or if they are, the return I'm going to have to promise them is something I can't deliver. I talked to, there are a bunch of new nonprofit workforce housing equity funds. That two ones I really focused in on. One is being by the Enterprise Foundation has a spinoff for equity investment. They're starting that fund, and the second is the National Equity Fund is doing that. When I met with both of them, they said, oh, thanks, Brian. They said, we're only doing markets where you're buying an existing asset, putting an income restriction on it for 7 years, and then we're pulling out, getting our return after 5 to 7 years.
Recording in progress.
That's not what is going to work for this. The other funds, the workforce housing investment funds, require longer term affordability. So the investor would have to stay in the deal for that investment. I'm confident that we can do this. I should say that our legal name, if you want to pull up our 990 to see if we have the capital for this kind of investment, which would be a fair question, is Community Housing Partners Corporation. So that's what our 990 is under. We were last year a recipient of CMF funds to the tune of $9 million. That's the most that any nonprofit or CDFI, community development financial institution, can receive. So, just some of our bona fides. I think especially as the second phase or third phase comes around, attracting the capital will be a lot easier, but today it's really hard to do. The other big challenge for this project is we've got to pull sewer a very long way. And the site and infrastructure costs are probably around $4 million. I believe Brian's talked to you all about it. That's a key barrier to this project. And that's quite frankly, our portfolio extends from Saltville in the deep southwest to Alexandria and down through the Tidewater. We're 4,000 units all over the state. We know, and especially we know the challenges of rural housing, and that infrastructure is one of the biggest ones. Most of the time, I was talking to Brian about this, I talked to my team about finding sites, doesn't have infrastructure, move on. Doesn't have water and sewer, move on, because it's too hard. But this is too important, and this location, there isn't the sites that they've acquired that can accommodate the density and that Hitachi needs, and the number of units, quite frankly. And this won't be the only development in support of the Hitachi program. We know that there's smaller ones planned and considered for in-town South Boston, but they're not going to be as big as this. They're not going to have the impact, and if Hitachi doesn't see that, I think there's a problem going forward. I bet you guys have questions, so I'll stop yammering.
What time frame do we have in terms of the board initiating this, right?
Yes, the next step we have to do from our perspective here is we have to secure the funding for that $4 million that we talked about before regarding the extension of the water and sewer lines. That is the key aspect of this project that was necessary to be able to make this work. Otherwise, this project isn't viable. That is the biggest challenge, is the biggest thing we had to eat on was the infrastructure piece of it.
Are you going to be working on this?
Yes, I am working on this. We've worked very closely with the PDC as well as with the board here and our board and moving this forward. They were selected by RFP process. We went to a full RFP to be able to select them to work on this project. The next piece we're doing is going to go into full design mode with the engineering firm. We hope to have that done later this year sometime.
I'd like to be start doing site plan approval process, assuming the funding's lined up. I want to be starting to talk about site plan approval very quickly, because if we're going to start work in 26, I'd love to start work first quarter of 26, maybe second quarter of 26. Site plan approval, I can get engineered drawings for this entire site, probably 3 to 6 months, depending on some of the factors specifically around infrastructure. And we're, as the developer, this is part of our equity in the deal. We're gonna be paying the engineers, the architects, everyone else up front to get this to the.
We provide the land, right?
We provide the land, and we're looking at the extension of the sewer, which actually brings it up to 58.
Okay. Well, I asked about ownership, and you all own this, you turn it over at any time, or how does that work?
So there are two methodologies for this, and I'm comfortable with both of them. The first is full transfer. That the fee ownership goes to the single purpose entity, it's controlled by CHP, and then the home ownership lots are then subdivided and sold to the individual buyers as a way of doing it. The second is a long-term ground lease. Long-term ground lease. So the single purpose entities on multiple properties do a master lease with the IDA, typically 99 years. That gives all your mortgage lenders confidence that the lessor isn't going to kick you out. But it can be, 75. Just can't be. Typically, they say double the term of your mortgage or your amortization, however you're going to structure it. So we do that a lot, especially with our public partners. And the ground lease gives the lessor a lot of control over the future of that. So, our income restrictions wipe out after 20 years. I can just be like, all right, I'm jacking rents 3 times, and Tachi workers, it's now lawyers and doctors who work at Centera, That's not how that works. So the IDA can have that control for that time period.
Is that the most used model?
What's that?
Is that the most used model in your portfolio?
It can be, I've seen it done both ways, and truthfully, I was leaning towards the land lease.
What would the price tag be of a single family home?
So this at 100. So we're looking at about 350 to 380. The max a max a person at 150% of AMI, which is the program limit rules, would be about 400,000. So we have to price it below that so that there's enough wiggle room so that we can attract buyers.
And what's the square footage?
Probably around 25 to 27.5. I forget the exact amount. 100 square foot. Depends on how final design. Do we do a first garage, first floor garage, or do we do a side garage? In this market, I prefer a side garage, most likely. There's a chance we do a parking pad and no garage, depending on where building prices are, what market comps are there. This is going to be competing in the market down here. It's not doing our Blacksburg development is so far below where the market is that people are clamoring for the houses, so we're not putting garages on, we're putting a parking pad. It allows us to keep the price of construction down when we're trying to really keep the sale price down. Here, I'm going to have to fight a little bit for buyers. So I'm probably going to have to offer a garage, and I got to work through maxing out that price, but not pushing it out beyond where people can afford. Especially at that $73,000 a year is not 150% of AMI for a family of 3. It's 150% for a 3-bedroom. The income is about $124,000 a year in this area.
So this is gonna be basically for moderate, upper moderate.
Upper moderate income. This is not low income. This isn't the 30-60 housing that we built with tax credits. This is not a tax credit development. We own a tax credit development in South Boston, and I actually forgot to mention, I am putting that in for what we call additional credits, so that I can fix it up. It's 20. We bought it and rehabbed it in 2008, and it's due. So that'll get new siding, windows. I think we did the roofs, but I need to double check. Definitely needs new flooring, kitchens, baths, HVAC equipment, all those things. We hope to be doing that in late 27, early 28. Those 9% tax credits are really competitive, really hard to come by, so we're all gonna knock on wood and pray for
Last
that.
question, are any of these three-story stuff that you're designing?
Can I ask back to your, the program about the housing, did I hear you rank 24 to 2,500 square foot?
I think so, yeah, that's, or,
Is that living space?
that's for a 3-bedroom.
Yeah, that's just a pretty big house.
Yeah, that's probably bigger, that includes the garage though.
Okay, so not living space.
Yeah. But my home ownership division does way more of that than me. I do most of the multifamily stuff. You had asked, I'm sorry, you were asking a question.
Three-story walk-ups.
3-story walk-ups, yeah. So we do those a lot. That way we can get, we do them in blocks of 12 vertically. And they're a good product. This is going to be a working population here. This is young families. One of the things I'm debating right now in the unit mix is how many should I be pushing more ones? We're seeing in places that people are staying single, living alone longer, having less kids. So I'm balancing, you know, the way my mind has always used to thought was, well, we need more 3s, need more 2s, and I'm like, no, we need more 1s. And I'm probably going to look at that as we do this. We do them in blocks of 12. So we try and match them up.
The 3s will deal with density too.
Yes.
Would it be up?
Well, we're looking at, this is higher density than we typically would be. This is gonna have to come by as a plan unit development to come before you. So this will come back before you as a plan unit development, through the planning commission and coming to you.
Now, will the maintenance fees be included in this or not?
So the rent includes all your maintenance. What my preference to do, it's only 16 homes. It's not enough for an HOA. So I would design that street going up and really ask really nicely if it would be dedicated as a public street. And the rest of the parking could be maintained by the rental development, but putting homeowners on a private roadway, and there's 16 of them, and its workforce can be difficult. I know a lot of jurisdictions have trouble taking on additional roads, but that would be one of my early asks, just from how do 16 homeowners maintain a street alone? It's not, they won't have enough, there aren't enough people to spread the cost of a repave. There's not enough people to spread the cost of annual plowing and other things.
And this will be mainly just for Hitachi?
No, it's actually it'll be for all of our workforce. We have other projects. Apache is the catalyst that allowed it to take place, but there will be open to others as well.
I just don't want us to run out of room for Hitachi.
Do we have time? What's the time frame? Do you think?
Well,
I think this is.
we're probably already 6 months behind where we'd like to be on this project.
Yeah.
But again, I think this is a 3-year basic project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, going through the site plan approval process is going to be important. Really focusing and working together through that is going to be critical, because if that stretches out everything. And one of my concerns, but you know, I think that the support that I've seen from the county, from the IDA, from now 2 administrations in Richmond, that this all can be done.
And I will say, this project is the catalyst that helped us win the 3rd best economic development project in the nation for 2025 from business location magazine. So they're considering this part of it being the true transformative piece for economic development that we're hoping is going to become the model for economic development in the future of Virginia.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is committee reports. Finance committee will be the Commonwealth's attorney request. And I believe it's page 84.
So we put,
We gonna put a school security rep in front
school
of the post
security,
School board grant.
what's that? What you put in there? On J? Put school security under finance committee?
Oh, that's right. We,
Jake,
yeah, okay, secure. That would be Ace Arbor, that's good. Dennis, you put it on the agenda, you're gonna address
yeah,
that?
Ron, Mr. Brady's going
Yeah.
to speak to that.
So, the board had approved a request from the school board some months ago to submit a grant application to fund the school resource officer. Because they had not been able to hire someone to their employee, they've gone out to a contract. This particular grant doesn't allow the funding to be used for a contract resource officer, and so as a result, the school is basically asking me to sign a letter to basically give that money back to the grantor, since we weren't able to hire someone on a permanent basis as an employee. So this is more of an FYI to the board.
So that's already been done.
That's correct, that is correct, yes.
Okay, the next item would be the Commonwealth's attorney's request, which is on page 84. And, basically, they were requesting a reallocation of $10,000 from the RDP salary to the CA salary. There's no number changes in that. The motion was made in the committee meeting by Vice Chair Smart and seconded by Supervisor Oaks to recommend approval to the full board to pass 3-0. So a motion is on the floor. Is it, Tracy, you want to present?
It doesn't change the bottom line of what.
Yeah. And Tracy Moore is here if anyone has any questions.
Good evening, Tracy Martin, Commonwealth's attorney, and I live in the town of Halifax. I don't know if anyone has any questions or not. As most of you, or all of you, I think know, my office is divided into two separate budgets, essentially, with one bottom line. And the way we're funded through the comp board, they treated us two separate budgets, and so, particularly for the salary, it's before the board asking for funds to move from one side of my office to the other side because there's a greater need over there for those unallocated salary funds. It doesn't change anything about the bottom line of our budget or the fiscal year 25 budget is already approved by this body.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Okay. Everyone in favor of the recommendation signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
The next item is erosion and sedimentation control. There's 3 items involved on that. One of them was to re-enter into a contract with Summit for $75,000, and that's to provide us the erosion sedimentation control for a few months down the road until we can get someone hired. We also recommend to hire erosion sedimentation control inspector to to perform these duties for the county. And we also reviewed an RFP for services that would include erosion sedimentation inspection to assist the county if it's, once we get a person in place, if the workload is too high for them. So it's basically three different things here. I think, if y'all have any questions or whatever, Nicholas Bowles is in, he maybe respond.
And that's just an extension for 4 months.
Yes. Okay.
So we got to talk with you at the finance committee meeting, so.
Yes, sir.
I don't have any questions on this recommendation here,
Yes, sir.
myself.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Was recommended, from the board, some motions on the floor, so if, everyone in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
That may be the easiest presentation you have to make.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir.
Moving on into section K, new business. The first item is rezoning permit application from A1 to agricultural to M2 industrial in election district number 6. Steve, do you want to speak on that?
Sure. Mr. Chair, so this board along with the planning commission had a public hearing on this application for a rezoning request of 2 parcels that are joined next to Hitachi Energy. I'm gonna try to get this pulled up, Mr. Chair. We had to reboot, so I'm gonna get this pulled back up. So I just want to show the community. So this is Hitachi here. And so we are rezoning these 2 parcels. And these 2 parcels will be part of the Hitachi expansion. And I will turn the zoning on to see what's the zoning. So we have industrial use, Hitachi is. We have some commercial use. So we did review the comprehensive plan, and the comp plan supports the rezoning to industrial. So you do have a recommendation from the planning commission to approve the 2 parcels to be rezoned from agricultural to M2 industrial. And as I mentioned, this would be part of the Hitachi expansion. Mr. Jimmy Epps is here tonight with B&B Consultants. If any questions from Jimmy, any questions from the board, Mr. Epps.
Thank you, teacher. My name is Jimmy Epps. I'm the president of B&B Consultants, and we're working with Hitachi to help facilitate several processes of site due diligence ahead of the purchase. But one of the key elements is the rezoning, so that they can feel confident in purchase of the property.
Because we're willing to do it. So this is the project overview. This is an overhead drone shot of the new parcels that you've purchased, and also the parcels that currently exist at Evans Park. So you can see the new spots on the left-hand side. I guess that's your right. And so you can see the parcels that we have to develop. This is more of another site of showing the what has been purchased, and so you can kind of understand where we're at in the field. Okay, there's really 4 things that we need to look at, and this is why we were kind of spinning our wheels. We've had a ton of discussions on this. Some of the board members have already met last year with the school board, and so there's been discussions. I know there's a new board, so we need to kind of reset this. And me and Dietrich are the chairs, and we need direction. The first thing that has to be done is in our opinion, is you have got to fix the current Evans Park. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to go forward to build something new with the current state. So what we want to do is we want for the current and new, the biggest thing we need is this landscape architecture firm. We've got to hire them. They know the wetlands, they know what can be built and what can't be built, they can lay out the parcels, they can run the sewer, they can do all the things, and they can present a plan, and they can cost all of it out, so you know how much it costs. And then you can, like a buffet, pick what you want and leave what you want based off the costing and the money that's needed. And so that is a long-term plan. And we have estimates on how long this is going to take, and it is not overnight at all. And I'll show you that in a minute. So the second thing is the Halifax County Public Schools has offered us an MOU option. The board has a copy of the MOU, and so that needs to be reviewed. I have my personal opinions on this, but I think this could be a stopgap to provide some type of recreational use while we work on Edmonds Park. The school board has agreed in high level. They have not, it's not been formally voted on, but we've talked with them about the track and also the tennis courts at the middle school could become county property, and then the county would have to fix it up, and they would turn that over to be used for the community use outside of school property, hours. And then so we'll walk through that in a few minutes. That also, the track, we've looked at it several times with several different companies. The track is beyond repair. It cannot be repaired, it cannot be patched, it has to be redone. And also, we'll talk about this in a minute, but the Virginia High School League has also condemned that track. And so, no other sport in this county would for the last 5 years, track has had all of their meets are away, every single one. So you have parents and grandparents who cannot go see track meets because they're all away. And so a lot of them start early, they can't get off work, and so that sport has been away for 5 years. And this could be a big win for the county, and I think a big feather in your hat for the Board of Supervisors if you fix it and allow them to use it until the new school for athletic facilities are done. The last piece is a long-term, but it's a creation of a recreational authority. And so this is kind of a 3-tiered system. These are not meant to be, not casting any blame on Mr. Short or anybody. Current Edmonds Park has a lot of issues. For about a little over a year, there was a huge hole in the dock. Some kid could have fallen through it, and you name it, could have happened. And that was just recently fixed, but that was out there for over a year. We have heavy grass in the water. Our grass has grown into the volleyball pits. The horseshoe pits are in terrible need of repair. There's road maintenance. There's wood chips outside the area. There's tarps and ties are cut in the area, and the dock and the lake, as you can see, is not filling up. So there has to be something done with that. You can see how the water and the overall swing set area is not in the best use. There's other issues. There's graffiti in the pavilions. Their swings are full. The court boards need replacing. The signs are damaged. The vinyl coming off. The trash bins are rusted. I'm not trying to be over dramatic. I want you guys to fully understand what that is. And so when we bring potential people here that want to work in Halifax County, what park do you have? You have Edmonds Park. We take them there, and this is what they see. And we talked to Mr. Short. He said last year his budget was, I think, $21,000, and all he was able to do is buy a lawnmower. And so, we can't really blame anybody for this, and we're not trying to, but there has to be some type of budget allocated, and I don't think the recreational committee has met. So I would recommend combining the recreational committee with our committee so that we can meet and we can go through this, because this is kind of what's happened, with the recreational committee not meeting and not asking you. And it's not blaming the board either, because if you're not asked for money or repairs, then you can't fix it. And so that's what we're trying to do today. This is the state of the track. These are just a few photos. As you can see, beyond repair. So the plan that the school board has, general high-level discussions, not voted on, was that we could fix the track and the tennis courts. We could tear the tennis courts down to middle school, put in pickleball tennis courts. We could fix the track and allow home meets for the track team. The biggest thing is it'll provide a safe space for senior citizens. There's a Girls on the Runs club who meets out there and learns how to run. There's a lot of community use out there because it's safe. It's a metered track, and a lot of people walk on it. And I think just in general, this has not had any maintenance since it was put in place, and so it's just in the condition that it's in. And so I think this is an opportunity. It's not really seen to, cast aspersions on anybody. This is the MOU that Halifax County Public Schools, high level. that we have developed. I would like for you all, as a, Ron, if you can take it to, I mean, we'd like for you guys to look at it, tell us yes, no, if you'd like to enter into this or not. And then we need some type of verification on funding that we'll talk about in the last slide. We have a high level slide. The biggest thing we have to do is we have to hire a landscape architecture firm. You can't design a park by yourself. You've got to have an expert. You can ask around. You know, we hire architects all the time. This has to be, because then you can. I'll tell you what they're going to do to try to convince you a little bit. So this is why it's critical. You know, they can provide strong demand. We have strong demand. Over 50% of our residents leave the county monthly for entertainment purposes. Evans Park, the envision is to be a regional destination, not just a neighborhood park. We've also talked with Stanton River State Park and their park ranger, and we've talked to them about what they can provide, what we should provide and not provide, so we don't step on anybody's toes. So we do not want to compete with others in the community. What the firm will provide professional site analysis and conceptual design that can be presented to this board. They will provide a master plan and a developed strategy. They can integrate the community priorities. Like if we have priorities, if you want ball fields or sports or restrooms or dog parks or event trails or pools or splash pads, whatever you want, they can integrate that in there and give you cost estimates on that. They also can coordinate with the county and the staff and the engineers and the permitting agencies that are employed by the county. This cannot be done by a volunteer organization. And the outcome of this is you get a clear roadmap for Evans Park. You have a reduced risk of public funds because you know what it's going to cost. You're not trying to add here and there and put it together yourself. You know how much it's going to cost overall. Then you pick what you want to do in the sequence you want to do it. The park also reflects community input, economic goals, and long-term vision. So this is the plan. So the plan is the landscape architecture will listen. So we'll listen to different groups in the community. We've done some listening sessions, but they'll go around to each one of your districts. They'll call a town hall meeting. They'll hear from you. Do you want a pool? Do you want a splash pad? We have heard a lot of requests for a pool. I know that's just, but they will form and they will gather everything that everybody wants to do. They'll analyze it. They'll explore the idea, see if it fits, if it's safe. They'll clarify the zoning. Can it be put there? They'll strategize with us and with you all, and then they'll put together a design. After that's done, they'll permit and document it, they'll construct it, and then we'll finish it. This is a long process. This process, if we would have started back in late last year, we wouldn't have finished till 2028. And so this is the plan. You have a park master plan, the site analysis and stuff takes around 3 months. It takes around 8 months for construction of the documents, the permitting, the survey, and then they're going to cost estimate with general contractors and budgeting. And then after that, you have a 3-month for a bid process that is per your guidelines as a public entity. You'll be able to do a sealed bid package, and then it takes around 12 months to construct. And all of these are assuming that there's funding available and that you all know what you want, and we all know what we want. And I don't want to put the onus on the committee that we have formed to tell the county what they want. I think with the committees to listen to what the citizens want, and then we do what they want, no matter of our opinion. Yeah.
Can I, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I think we can abbreviate this and go back to what you suggested before about consolidating the committee, the recreation committee and the comprehensive planning committee, because it's time for us to start consolidating, committee with the community. And this is one of the ideas.
I mean, that's.
I'm the only one on the recreation committee from this board.
From this board.
But we got other people who are on the recreation committee, and they're some good people. So I think that's a good idea because we need to start getting all these things together because we got great things coming on in the next few years. And getting citizen community input like that would be great to be working with us for something like this.
So if y'all can talk about that, put in your comments.
That's all I'm saying. Just to abbreviate.
So I'll be quickly. I know you guys are probably don't want to be on that. We have a few examples. These are examples that have been done by local firms We have had 3 firms come and speak to us already, and we have 2 more we would like to interview. We do need to talk. Another ask, Ron, would be, do you want it to be public or do you want it to be closed? And so that's a huge distinction. I don't want to make that distinction. You all can tell me what you all want to do. We did the first ones open, and there was a request to do them closed. And so we will do whatever the board would like. So these are some other projects that have been done locally, the River City Park, and then the Mayo River State Park master plan that was done. So you'll get something similar. There has been a survey done already with a community-wide survey. It was mixed, so we kind of had a mixed reviews on it. 80% of people say there's not enough recreational options for kids and teens. So they've requested, spaces, educational, summer camps. Over 50% of residents leave 3 times per month for monthly, and they spend $75 of recreational somewhere else and not in our local jurisdiction. And then what people like the most is safety, community events, and local businesses. And so we need to do some formal, really just go around to each of your districts, get some formal feedback, and then develop that. This is the last slide, I think, that we have. So this is the 3 things that we need. First, we need a consensus from the board on moving forward with the project as outlined in this presentation. So whether you combine committees or whatever, that's completely up to you all. And then after that, the second thing is we would like to move forward with interviewing the landscape architecture companies, and we need to know if you want to do them open or closed. And then we're going to recommend the top 2 companies to the board. The board then can go into negotiations to decide how much the fee is. We're not going to deal with the money. They are expensive. We have $75,000 that was allotted in the budget. That's not going to do it. You're looking probably $150,000 to $200,000 for a consultant, because it's a lot of work. But we'll negotiate. We'll just pick the best one that we like, and we'll give them to you all. If you like them, then you can negotiate. If the price is good, then we'll select them. If not, we'll give the number 2. You can go negotiate with them. And then we were told last year, previous board, previous administration, that there was some $1.4 million allocated for facilities improvement that could be applied toward these efforts for the track and for the tennis courts. And this would provide a stopgap. And we would have the money to fix those. And we don't need all of that money, but some of it to fix those amenities, and that would provide a short stopgap. I don't know if the money's there. Our committee doesn't know. But without money, our committee can't do much, right? And so if we don't have the money to do the architect or hire or to go into the MOU, then we don't need to meet. And so that's kind of the high level. And like I said, I want to say everybody that we've worked with has been super helpful. Mr. Short has been super helpful with Evans Park and giving us the history. And he's been going out and getting quotes for new equipment and new playground and play sets and everything like that. And so really, I see this stopgap as an opportunity for you to close the gap, and then you have a 3-year plan to get Evans Park up to date, and then you'll have a chance to get a formal presentation to you. And so that's kind of our plan. And sorry it was long-winded, and I hope it wasn't taken in a negative way. It's taken as we're looking forward to the opportunity to serve the citizens and to help, and so that's all we're trying to do.
What was your budget estimate for the planning stage of it?
Yeah, so we had 75, but we interviewed 3 architects, and they said it's probably $150,000, $175,000 for the arch. So we're short probably $100,000 for hiring a landscape architecture firm. We interviewed 3, and we have 2 more that we really need to interview. And then if we do it in closed session, we're going to bring back all 5 and just do a whole day. And then the committee has about 10 or so members. They'll recommend. We don't discuss pricing. This is a request for it's a request for qualifications. It's not a request for proposals.
Now, a question.
Yes.
So the 150 we talking about, they gonna come in, they will do an extensive design, schematic, and they actually look at all the utilities involved, grade, and they can. So this is where we're gonna get the cost estimate.
So you pay this up front. They also will do the community meetings, and so because they'll do all the community meetings, and then they'll do everything you've said. They'll give you a beautiful rendering of what the park can look like, and then after that, they will give you cost estimates for if you add a pool, if you add a splash pad, if you add a ball field, if you add Some people were talking about they wanted, cabins for rental, whatever they want, they'll have it
That's
cost.
the most important thing, is us know what we're getting into before we get in.
That's right, so without that, we're guessing, because right now, we went out for prices for pools and it's just, you need to have a overall plan of what it looks like, how much it costs, and then you can decide, maybe I wanna do this year, this next year, or whatever, but you need to have a master plan, so you have a North Star. But without it, you're really guessing at cost, and you don't know what your liability is. And so and then some of the stuff is not feasible for that area. We found out with the Riverdale project, people wanted a lot of things in that area, but because of the flooding and things like that, you can't do it in that area. And so this will also, and you have 2 ponds already as features, and so they'll tell you whether it's viable or not.
So really what you're looking for is to go ahead with the architect.
Well, I would like to go ahead with interviewing the 5, and then let me know if you want it open or closed, and I really need direction on the MOU. Those are the 2 things that, I think that we really need. And then, we don't have to verify the money is there, but, this park is gonna be expensive. It'll tell you how much it's gonna be.
That's gotta be planned in.
Yeah.
Initially, the MOU would be about 1.4 million to upgrade it.
We don't need all, we've guessed around 800,000, that we had quotes to redo the track at 400,000. And then we're estimating another 400 to tear down the tennis courts and build new. That's an estimate, we have hard quotes on the track, that we do not have hard quotes on the middle school, but, I think that will provide a stopgap, and then also, I really think it'll be a win for that sports team that, they're really good. They go to state every year, and all of their meets are away, and they can't practice on a safe surface, because the track has been condemned.
Any other questions before we move forward?
Yeah, so just let me know next month or whatever, I appreciate your time listening to it, and, thank you.
Thank you, Ralph, for that update.
Okay, the next item on our agenda would be the budget schedule. And I think it was laid on the table for everyone tonight to look at, and the schedule is, got us meeting and getting one ready for approval by April, but, we'll get there, but it's, we'll have to work fast on this one. So any questions related to the schedule? We need to adopt this. Okay.
What is that in our packet?
It was,
Okay.
I'd be happy to entertain a motion on the fiscal year 2027 budget calendar.
I make a motion to approve the 2027 budget calendar.
Okay, is it a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been properly motioned by Supervisor McDowell and seconded by Supervisor Oaks to approve the fiscal year 2027 budget calendar as presented tonight. Is there any discussion? If not, signify approval by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Okay, next item, pending matters, unfinished business. And I think the first one is the one that Mr. Reagan spoke on today. Dietrich, you want to maybe?
Sure, I'll be very brief. So, Mr. J. Hall, at our last month meeting, doing citizen comment, made concerns to the board about Mr. Reagan towing in vehicles on Sundays. Mr. Reagan pointed tonight that his CUP did allow him to tow cars on Sundays. Mr. Thompson did visit Mr. Reagan's site, I think a couple weeks ago, talked to Mr. Reagan that he's allowed to tow in cars, but he's not allowed to work with any vehicle on Sunday. Mr. Thompson also visited Mr. J. Hall, the gentleman who made a complaint, and advised him that he is permitted to tow in vehicles on Sunday. So to the board, Mr. Reagan is in compliance with the the board would like to amend Mr. Reagan's CUP not to allow any form of funding, you have the right to do so. But just to be clarified, Mr. Reagan is in compliance with the CUP permit.
And, yeah, I would like to, I'd like to comment that, we discussed the towing, and we, originally when we issued the CUP, and we actually put a vision screen up to keep the record shining lights on the neighbor's house. I mean, it was all, that's what we decided. I think it's reasonable. And, unless someone else thinks we need to pursue it further, I think it is what it is. I think he's in compliance.
Totally business, so.
You never know when the car will break down.
I asked you what the problem was. You said the LED lights on the rifle was too bright and you made too much noise, throwing chains up on
All right.
Okay, the next item is, another one about the demolition. Keith, if you want to address that.
So at the same meeting, Ms. Jennifer Champion made a concern to the board that the building in Clover was demolished without a building permit and without a special report on the demolition. We made contact to the owner. He did come in and apply for the demolition permit. And a note, it is the owner's responsibility to get the special report, not on the county to verify that. That is responsible to the owner. If they is asbestos, they're responsible for the abatement. On a contractor's license to dispose the abatement in the proper manner, that's on the owner, not the county. But the building application has been submitted, it's in process, and once that's done, we'll make an inspection and close out the permit.
So everything's in order for me, can't say.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is supervisor comments, and Supervisor Oates, do you have anything?
No, Mr. Chairman?
Supervisor Witt?
No.
Supervisor McDowell?
No.
Supervisor Thomas?
No.
Supervisor Clayton?
Not
Okay. So, I'll now entertain a motion for us to enter into closed session.
You got the motion, Chief.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we enter into closed session pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711.
Second.
Second.
We need to list subsections.
Subsection A-1, discussion, consideration of interviews of prospective candidates for employment.
Appointments is fine, and then we have three more subsections.
Subsection A-3, discussion of consideration of acquisition of property. Subsection A-8, consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters. And subsection A-29, discussion of the award of public contract involving the expenditure of public funds.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it has been properly motioned by Supervisor Oates and seconded by Supervisor McDowell to enter into closed session, subsection A1 appointments, subsection A3 real estate, subsection A8 legal, and subsection A29 contracts. Everyone in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, we now will enter into closed session. And as last week, we will go into the public conference room and let y'all stay here until we return, if you so desire. Thank you.